So if you had this question of um, woman is to man as king is to X, then the answer obviously is queen. But what's kind of maybe mysterious about this little snap program is how does it come up with queen here? So the first thing is that this block that I created called features of just returns 300 numbers for any of the 20,000 words it knows in any of 15 different languages. So what's kind of magic is that by taking the difference between woman and man, which you might think of as the essence of what it means to be a female, and add it to king, then you get queen again. And if I were to change king to father, then we get mother. And this little thing over here is meant to kind of illustrate the idea, which is that think of these words as being in this 300 dimensional space, and that the vectors are parallel if they have a similar kind of structure. So a different way to think about the exact same problem is that if you take the difference between king and man, which would kind of get the essence of what it means to be royal, and add it to a woman, then you get queen. And I think if I put here, maybe it'd be smart enough to come up with princess. Yeah. So you could do other kinds of tricks with this. You could find out what's the average between two words or whatever. But what I did for preparing for this talk is I added a new thing to it, which was, so here's the intuition behind it, which is if you take a vector, say the one between woman to man, and then the vector between king to queen to king, then the distances between them, Euclidean distance, should be relatively small if they're similar vectors. And in this case, we even get a little better, they're even closer if we say woman to man, but mother to father, that those are even more in parallel in some 300 dimensional space. So then I had the question of, well, since we know this, could we look for just discover new analogies by just coming up with any of 4 of the 20,000 words? But the problem is that if we do that, and then for each of those 4 words, there's 6 different ways you could arrange them to make an analogy, we get whatever this number is, you know, trillions of possibilities. So what I did was I made a version of this that would search, in this case, for the 10 words that are nearest to woman, and then only show me the ones that have a somewhat decent score. 2 is still pretty bad. So it takes about 2 minutes to do this. So here's the, oops, that's, oh, I screwed up. Well, I'll run it again maybe. I accidentally changed it. I'll show you while it's running. I thought, given that a lot of people are from Germany, that I would try it with German, but I don't think it did a very good job. Somebody who knows German better, but I looked at Google Translate a bit, and it came up with sort of pretty bizarre analogies. Maybe some of them are reasonable, but I think they're very strange. I tried it in Swedish, and it actually, the top 20 all made sense to me. And the English one, accidentally, I overwrote it, but although maybe while it's doing that, I'll give you a sense of how it's computing this. So it's telling me how many things it has yet to explore. Oh, I should have, here, let me show you this before real quick. I'll just squeeze it down here. So it's showing that there's still 500 to explore, and these are the ones that it's found so far, but they're not sorted in any way. but they're ones that at least have a score of 200. So man is to girl, as husband is to wife. Not so bad. I mean, these are, you'll see when it finally finishes that the answers are much better. So let me quickly, I've only got a minute left, maybe most. It basically comes up with, picks 4 words out of the 10 closest to whatever word I suggested, and then makes analogies for them. And the way it makes an analogy is just this distance between the differences between pairs of words, and it checks to see if one of them's in the wrong direction. But if either one of them is better than the threshold, then it gets added to the list, which we just saw. So hopefully by now we'll have a good, it's still almost done, but once it's done, it takes it a few seconds to sort it, but very soon we should be able to see these analogies. So it's just sort of playful, but I think there's something one could learn about linear algebra and about language in the process of playing with these things. And I would finally finish. So here's the 155 analogies it came up with. And the URL for the project is in the description of this talk.